Play to earn, gaming or investments.
Okay, so we're going to move on to the next session, and I'm back. So we are now talking about play to earn. It's a particularly interesting topic for me, certainly, because the question is, is it an investment? Is it, is it investment? Is it kind of gaming? What is it exactly? So I'm going to ask. We can sit. We're going to be joined. We're missing one lady who's down doing another speech. So Megan Easey is going to come back to us. But do you want to introduce yourselves, Jim?
Okay. Provis? My introductions.
Yep, do your introduction. Say who you are.
Okay, nice to meet you. I'm from Japan. My name is Jun. We are now doing fund management and the CEO of the MetaX. We basically invest in Web3 games and NFT things. Yes. Also, and we have an NFT marketplace, crypto exchange, whole Web3 game ecosystem we are doing. Okay.
And Megan?
My name is Megan Nilsson. I go by Crypto Megan. I'm currently on a world speaking tour, educating Web3 and crypto NFTs, and also I'm a high-end crypto and NFT consultant, and advocating for women. So it's amazing to be on this panel.
I am in awe of you. You really do a lot for women. So
same to you. It's an honor to be on this panel.
You bring us along. Okay, so jumping straight into the topic. So I mean, play to earn. There's a question over whether or not it should be regulated. So, when it goes to things like in the metaverse, time is a currency, right? Your time is your currency, and so is that something? If you're giving it an unlimited amount of time, that you're getting something from it, and you might be getting more from different things. But where does that lie? Is that something that needs to be regulated, or is it should it go under gambling, under financial institutions? Megan.
I think that raises a very interesting question. To be quite honest with you, before we had this discussion, this panel, I never even thought about it that way, because I'm coming from a completely different perspective, right? Yeah. So in my perspective, it's just the same gaming that they've always done, except for now they can have ownership instead of the platform owning everything that they do. And so when it comes down to the question, do people play to earn, or is that just like kind of a benefit along the way that they get out of their time from playing? For me, it's like, for example, Starbucks. Let's take Starbucks. They have a loyalty program now, right? And so one of the ways that you can make your way up to actually having a trip to Starbucks in South America, their headquarters, is by learning to earn, right? And so there's all these questions like, well, is that gambling then? Yeah. But so for me, it evens out the playing field, because now people who don't have a lot of money can engage in these kind of activities where they get to learn about the brand and in turn earn rewards, just like in any other type of program, only this time they have ownership over those rewards that they can then sell to somebody else who has the money to buy it but doesn't want to spend the time. And I guess that doesn't answer exactly your question.
Well, there's no answers. That's why I think this isn't a Q&A. It's more of a discussion. I saw you nodding there.
Oh, yes. And yeah, Web3 gaming and investment, I think it can be working together. And also the time of the game and the metaverse things. And yeah, it's sometimes it's work easily, because I'm playing some game. It's playing like the play without time. Yeah, because just I'm joining the online games, the metaverse game, but our members, the guild members, and playing together. I don't join that, but members going to grow the castles and teams, the monsters. Yeah, I think it's not should be. Time is not a very important thing for gaming things and the metaverse thing, because we already have playing a game without no need of sync data times. I have experience like that. I think
so. Megan, I'm going to come to you in 2 seconds. You can settle in. I
Thank
know
you
you
for
just
allowing
run
me.
down from the other stage. This Megan, so I'm going to call you Megan and you Crypto Megan. Okay, so Crypto Megan, you said something really interesting there. You were just like, okay, people who need to earn money. That's immediately, I'm like, okay, if people need to earn money, should they be playing games online in order to get a reward that they can then potentially, it has value or not? I mean,
Yeah. It raises a good question. And what I meant was not that they needed to earn money, especially for the Starbucks example. What I'm referring to is now it's an even playing field where you can either use your time or your money to participate, right? That's what I meant. Like before, only the big, for example, the whales could buy up all the rewards and get whatever they wanted in that way. But now people can use their time as a way to infiltrate this reward system. As far as play to earn games, if they're playing to earn money, I mean, you could also raise the argument that they are gamers in essence and they're playing anyway. So this is just a newfound freedom for them to be able to enjoy and have ownership over that time that they've spent. Now, is that gambling per se? Because what is the definition then of gambling?
okay, I'll tell you the definition of gambling. Gambling is you put money or money's worth, there is an element of risk, and you get a reward. So if you can buy the NFTs that other people are playing for, then that's money. It's risk because it's a game, even a game of skill, and there's a reward because you get money out at the end of it, or you get money's worth out at the end of it. So, I mean, you know, the need for regulation is such a grey area. But before we go any further, I want to introduce Megan Easey. So thank you for joining the
My pleasure. Thank you for allowing
Do you
me.
want to say hello and introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. So I'm very glad that I worked for 18 years in online gaming. And I remember way back in 2005 in Stockholm working for OnGame that it all came down to protecting players in terms of the time and money that they spent, because these are
I totally agree with you regarding time.
right. So these are completely subjective things. The amount of time you have to spend or the amount of money that you have to spend really is down to the person. And in traditional risk type scenarios, you would have to set a limit on how much time and money you spend. For me, play to earn, yes, is a great sort of even playing field. But we do work in an online environment, and we don't always know how many people are sat behind a single login. So, for example, if somebody's coming along and they want to make some money off a play to earn game through rewards, they might recruit 5 friends and they each take a 4-hour shift every day, for example, and then continue to earn. So it's not about, I totally get you, Megan, totally. I think that time absolutely feels like a more free resource. But we really need to also be aware of how easily the people who come on honestly can be duped by a syndicate, for example.
Yeah.
May I speak about the
Oh,
gamble?
of course. I knew this was going to be good.
Yeah, I have a opinion about gaming and gamble. I think Web3 game is not more a gamble. Yeah, please imagine the Pokemon. Have you played Pokemon cards? Okay, have you played Pokemon cards? Okay, if you want to play, you should be buy Pokemon card. Okay, but we just play Pokemon. But now, yeah, Pokemon card, first Lizardon, it's like 300K, yeah. But okay, we just young ages, we just buy Pokemon card. It's not gambling, just buy Pokemon card. And we just play the games. But now that Pokemon card much values. I believe that Web3 gaming happen like that. It's not more like gamble is, yeah, it's more assets. And it's just play, it make the values. I believe that more like the social capital things, and it's totally different, a little bit different about the gamble and the Web3 games and the NFT things.
You're nodding? Go ahead.
So but could you define time as being a risk? Because if the real risk is just a waste of time, I mean,
the risk is the game.
No,
Time
I
is
know,
the currency.
But then we think about what is the inherent risk? What are you protecting them against? And essentially, then, if the only risk is not losing money but just losing time, and people would be playing these games anyway.
Well, are they playing those games anyway? Because when it comes to play to earn, we had some people earlier and they were just saying, well, you know, people don't play them for fun. Not these ones. They play them for the money. So it's the you know, a kind of a baby stock market, or you know, a kind of a baby job. It's like, so are they playing them for fun, or are they, you know, is this a separate breed?
I think the question comes down to, and you ask a very good question here, it comes down to, you know, in traditional gambling scenarios, we set restrictions based on the amount of time and money people have. So if we want to really make a fair play-to-earn environment, there needs to be, for example, a limit on the amount of time you can spend every 24 hours or every week, because that sort of levels the playing field somehow. What we've learned out of 18 years in online gaming is that some people could be landing, you know, doing 1 cent, but the fact is they're hiding away from their family in a room and not interacting with their children, for example. So I don't want to sound like I'm coming from the place of, oh my God, you know, we need to control and hurry. It's more, geez, play to earn is meant to be fair, and time isn't fair. The amount of time people have, it's impossible to say my time is the same as yours or yours or yours. So it's just to keep that in mind. I think the fairness of the whole aspect has to be considered.
The only thing that I think is different in the fairness and in this whole play-to-earn model, learn-to-earn, like Starbucks, the example, and I'm going to go back to Starbucks, is that it allows, like, before, the people who only had time could never compete with the people who had lots of money. And now they can compete with their skills and their time with the people who have money, and they can trade that.
But now you've
right?
got the people who have lots of time versus the people who have limited time. And so you're talking about what Megan said. It's like, you know, people have a syndicate, and they just, you know, they're just kind of, you know, in investing, and they take a trade. So, you know, where before you're saying you had people who had money and you had people with time.
Right.
Now you have people with money, people with time, and people with less time. So, you know,
I suppose it also comes down to what sort of incentives are in place apart from just whatever you're earning. So let's say you're earning a coin that can translate into X. What you're also doing is creating a membership or loyalty program within the game that doesn't translate into the tokens of whatever you earn, but it potentially gives you a higher status. This is where we saw, you know, again, in the gaming environment, we saw very different customer profiles based on the products they were choosing to play. We got obsessed with trying to cross-sell people into different products. And, you know, you'd have an ace VIP who potentially engaged with all your products or spent more than anybody else. So maybe it would be useful if we talk about a game, a play-to-earn game that we're familiar with, and say why that's a good thing. I can't think of one off the top of my head right now, but I remember somebody in Malta showing me that you could go onto this planet Mars and farm, right? And you get points for farming. Then you look at taking it to the next level, which is, let's say it's NFTs within a game. And that NFT represents a physical, real-life asset. So what you're doing then is growing the value of the NFT in the game as a secondary income. These are all strategic decisions that many people across the world know how to play to their advantage. So for me, I almost want to create a kindergarten for people who are new to play to earn so that they're protected in some way. And that's something I feel quite passionate about.
yeah. No, I know that. Do you have thoughts on that?
Yeah, it just came to mind, actually, play the Bored Ape Yacht Club game. They just launched that game. I'm in Bored Ape Yacht Club, so I've been looking at the mechanics of it. I've been studying how they've been doing it. And yeah, I guess, you know, so that game launched and they dropped a ticket to all of the apes. Everybody got a ticket to the game. And then with that ticket, you could either sell that ticket or participate in the game for a future NFT that's going to evolve into something that you don't know what it's going to evolve into. And actually, they allowed you to delegate that ticket to anybody that you wanted. And
that's
so
clever.
The one that they delegated it to, somebody paid for a professional gamer to do it, and he sold that ticket for $1.6 million. So that's a game that comes to mind just because I saw this happening, and it was creating this massive hype, and people were excited because their skills could earn them money. So I can understand from a perspective of a regulator how that might seem. That's one particular game, but at the same time, you know, it was a free drop to everybody who was in the club, who could then decide what they wanted to do with it. So there's so many different nuances and gray areas to me that feel like, okay, where can we come up with a happy solution where we don't stifle what we're doing?
Because when you say there, you were talking about sold it for 1.6 million. Immediately, I'm going money laundering. Immediately.
So the guy had his chance, right? The professional gamer had his chance to use his skills to make him money, and the guy who delegated the ticket also made money, and it was great.
But that 1. I mean, if we go on to ML, that 1.6 is now in a valid system. It's now going into the second phase of money laundering, which is mixing it with game money.
But you're under the assumption then that wasn't reported or declared, or that you know. But it was all public news, and they did this. So
go ahead.
Okay, yeah. I played that game. Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah. The point is a very interesting point is I have 2 apes and
I have no apes. I want to know.
No. I'm playing that game. Yeah, it's very difficult. but one another ticket I sell it at OpenSea. The point, but it's almost 5 ethers or more like that. The point is people want to play that games, but only Belsey and Macy, only few people can be playing. That is new type of the Web3 game and style, and new type of the Web3 game economy system. It's the Yuga Labs make the ones. It's very interesting thing. Yes.
You were going to jump in?
I'm just going to try and remember what I was going to say.
Oh, yeah, okay.
No, I'm thinking here about what are the extra rewards after the play-to-earn token. So, for example, let's say there's a Scrabble game online, right? And your target audience is anybody at home who plays Scrabble and really enjoys it. They earn X, a token. I wonder how we can actually utilize play-to-earn as a concept to translate into real-world goods, such as groceries, or a massage, or a pizza voucher. I think that's one of the things that's going to differentiate traditional play-to-earn models, and then look at what is the token, the utility, and how can it be used further. So it's not limited to the game, you know?
Because actually, from Japan, I'm going to talk about pachinko for a second, which is very interesting. So pachinko is a game, and you pay the money, and it's a land-based game, and you can't possibly win money, but you can trade your tokens. And in actual fact, one of the biggest things that people trade them for is toilet paper. It's like because they trade them at and laundry detergents and everything. So it is groceries, but because they offer a better price than the supermarket. So people pay to play and then get their groceries, but are they really getting a better price if over the long term they're committing more? Because it is. I mean, it might be different now, but I know a few years ago when I was in Japan looking at this, because I was flabbergasted, I was like, oh, this is something that, you know, I'll throw out as a useless piece of information. But it is things like toilet paper, it is things like groceries, and that's what they're using.
I'm also interested in the play-to-earn model from a commercialization perspective. So for the person who's hosting the game, what are the commercials around it that make sense for them? Like, how does a person make money hosting a platform where people come in for free and just earn a bunch of things?
Well, isn't that like social gaming when you have, you know, Candy Crush or any of Farmville? You know, at one point Farmville, there was more tractors in Farmville than there was in America, right? But you take something like Farmville
You see, it's a syndrome on this stage. It's late, we're forgetting what we're saying. No, but you're right. I mean, in Farmville, you can show off that you've got these many tractors, this, and that. And it's an ego boost. And this is where, for example, earning a badge to say, I'm a Farmville champion. You know, you get a badge on Facebook for being a commentator on a particular topic. So maybe what people want to do is to like elevate their online presence.
So it's a gamification. I do remember what I was saying, and this is going to be interesting for, you know, for your game, for the Bored Ape Yacht Club, is in social gaming, 2% of people converted to real money. So your game had to be profitable within a couple of days in order to sustain the 98% that would not play because you've got the high load. How does that work with your games?
Well, I think tokenomics and the way that the system is structured is a huge thing. And when I was following the NFT movement from when it started, right? And so I've seen so many projects come out with play-to-earn games, like I'm sure you have, and fail miserably. I mean, like, most of them. I mean, most of them, it's so hard to create the dynamic where your system just doesn't collapse on itself. Because why? There has to be a demand. There has to be a community that wants to continue engaging, and that's very difficult to achieve. And that's one thing that Bored Ape Yacht Club has achieved, is being able to get people involved for the long run, that want to see the next thing, that want to be involved in the next iteration. And so, yeah, that is something that could be considered a risk, is these ones that come out of nowhere, say you're gonna make all this money and then take all the money away and the community's gone.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I haven't seen many examples of play-to-earn games that are actually successful.
There's so many game authorities in gaming that popped up right about the time when it started getting fun, right, to regulate. So you have to wonder, like, shouldn't there be some kind of education portal for anybody who wants to go into play-to-earn games, where they are educated, say, look out for this, look out for that, go for this, go for that.
Sorry, pointing, which is rude. In Decentraland, there now is, in Vegas City, Decentraland University. So yeah, so it's brand new, but there's actually Decentraland University for, I presume, that very reason. You're aware of that, yeah?
Yeah, the university in Decentraland.
Yeah.
Super cool. And Sandbox is doing a lot of initiatives as well. A lot of initiatives with different NFT communities. So I know people are trying to educate on this topic, but yeah, for me, it's not like so much like, no, don't regulate. I mean, it's more just like, let's find a happy medium where we can still have the freedom to innovate, right? And that for me is everything. And I feel like that gets lost in translation in the regulation, and that's the problem.
Yeah, because I mean, we were talking about this earlier on this stage here. It's like, regulation does take away from the very nature of decentralized anything. But at some point, regulation, it's not a bad thing. It's there's a certain point, that it is good to put a boundary, especially in stuff. Our time is up. Jürgen, it's like, sorry, I'm so sorry, this is awesome, but he's waving at me, telling me to shut up in the nicest possible way. Guys, this has been really good. I'm so glad we had it as a discussion. This has been awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you for allowing me.
Megan and Jun, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
ありがとう。